Welcome one and all to a K5 Snow Day special, and there's no day better than a day like today to check out some old die cast. Okay, first up today we're going to check out this. This is the old real toy Audi TT. Yeah, you cannot get these in Tesco's anymore. These were the original Tesco cars. I actually regret now not going wild and buying every single one when I had the chance. They did end up going on sale for 20p each. But of course, when I got to the till with this baby, it didn't cost me anything because they couldn't find a price for it, so they just let me have it, which is fair enough. So yeah, definitely going to miss these real toy castings. Very nice little pieces, very realistic. And all I could find in Tesco's right now was this. Good old Tesco's have only got a limited amount of Hot Wheels in right now, as have most of our major supermarkets, and it's probably not going to get any better with the snow as it is right now. So earlier we had a look at the Lesney model of this particular piece, and this particular one is a slightly later model. This is from around about 1996, I'm guessing by the packaging. Might well say on the back, yeah, 1995-96. And this was from the period after International and before Mattel. And they've resurrected this lovely old casting. Let's have a look inside. The Weasel Tank, as it's called, is actually wrongly named a tank because it's actually an armoured car. This was given to me by Mr. James Shear back, well, a couple of years, well, not last year, but the year before, when I went to go and visit Florida. And this one is not, oh, I don't know though, is it going to be a Roll-O-Matic? It's got all the parts in place. There seems to be some resistance there. Let's have a look. Now, I didn't think this was going to be a Roll-O-Matic, but let's have a look. Yes, it is. It's a Roll-O-Matic. That's amazing. And of course, on the base there, it doesn't actually say it's a Roll-O-Matic. It says made in Thailand, Matchbox International. So it is actually an international piece. Let's have a compare to the old original. There we go. Everything's more or less the same, except for, of course, it's got a black top on the old one. But yeah, it's genuinely is the same casting. There's the bases, so you get an idea of what's actually going on here. Of course, all the cams and everything are all housed in this big plastic central chassis. Oh, I'm so pleased that it's actually got the Roll-O-Matic feature. That is just awesome. So there you go. Don't be scared to buy yourself an old International, because it is just as good as the Roll-O-Matic. In fact, because it's all brand new, it's much better. That's brilliant. Oh, it's fast too. Woo! Look at this Bradley. This is made by a totally unknown brand to me, Motorworks Series 2. Have a look around the box on this one because it is interesting. Made, oh, Maisto, there we go. It's a Maisto piece. There we go. Wow. Of course, this is what I thought it was. It was the Maisto M3 Bradley. There's quite a few cars in this series. This must have been a very early Maisto release in America. Because again, James Shear gave this to me. The box is somewhat now dilapidated. Let's get it out and have a look. Wow, It's got some good moving features. This is all plastic up here, plastic gun. It's made out of that hard plastic, which is probably going to break easy if it's exposed to too much childhood. But yeah, it seems to be quite a lot of plastic on this piece. I'm looking for the metal parts. I'm guessing that this side skirt and the top deck are made of metal. Very deceiving. Now I do have some pieces of a similar ilk, but these ones are made by Matchbox, and these are from the Matchbox International period, or very late, early Mattel period. See the M2 fighting vehicle. Is it M2? That's an M2, as is this, I believe. Oh, this is an M3. Ooh, haha. But there you go, they look very similar. Of course, this Matchbox is one of my favourite Matchbox castings, and I will always pick them up over anything else. But I guess if I find any more of these Maisto ones, they're pretty good too. There's a guy on Instagram, you should go and check out. He's got a whole army of these, VMH003 I believe. I'll put a little indicator down the bottom there. Go down, check him out on Instagram. He's got whole squadrons of these things, and they're mighty all together. Of course, there's another one. So we've got a couple of Bradleys there, and this new one. It's actually quite a good roller. It's quite good side by side with this. Yeah, not bad. James Shear for that one. Okay, next up I'm going to look at this Siku Panzer tank. Awesome stuff. This is a way smaller scale than most of the other pieces that I've shown you already. Probably fits in more with the attack track for scale. This was sent to me by Thomas, Frisian 71, or Frisian's Diecast Collector. This is all the way from Germany. It's a German tank, a Leopard 2 I believe, or is it a Leopard 1? Let's have a look on the base. Doesn't really say. Now I did have one of these I got in the UK, and my one is a slightly different green, which is interesting. Much more of an olive green as compared to whatever colour that is. It's like a dark olive or a Schwarzgrün, I would say, like a German green. So that's like a variation. Now I did not realise I was going to get a variation out of this video, but there we go. That's a pretty awesome piece. Let's clear the decks again. Let's give it some attack track. Yeah, you see? That attack track's around about the same scale as our tanks. So I'm going to need another couple of these to make up a formation. And again, VMH003 on Instagram. He has squads of these things trundling across his worktop all day long. it's been a long time since we had a Moco of the month, and this particular month I managed to find some of this stuff. Yes, I've had to resort to my old haunts of going round the antique shops, which is great because well, I'd kind of given up hope, especially at one of my particular shops I used to go and visit. They had nothing for months, well, about 2 years, and all of a sudden they've managed to get a load of stuff in. So hopefully over the next few months I'm going to be able to show you some good old tat from there. And this is some of the best tat you're going to see. This is number 21B, probably released around about 1960-61. It's in the lineup for a very, very short time, so it's been very hard to find this particular piece. This is the old London to Glasgow bus. Of course, it's missing its tampos on the top there. As you can see, it's got some remnants there, just little bits of yellow coming through there. There would have been a London to Glasgow sticker on there, placed probably between those two lines there. And again, you can see them on the other side. So it's absolutely wonderful, and this actually now completes my entire collection of Moco buses. Another piece that I've been absolutely dying to find is this original D-type Jaguar. This is a number 41A. This comes from around about 1957, judging by the way that the wheels have been stamped on. It's got metal wheels, metal base, metal body, little metal driver. There he is. I'm not going to say that's Jim Clark. It's probably someone a little bit older than Jim Clark. Maybe Sterling Moss is in there. Who knows? Say hi, Sterling. But this car's a little bit dented and a little bit bent up. And together, both these models cost me around about £9. So very good, quite a good deal. Obviously, the shop needs to make some money, and I'm happy. I'm going to go back there and pick up some corgis. You'll be surprised what I found there.
Hello again. What have we got here? Well, we have got in front two wonderful finds at Poundland. Hot Wheels. They came in these bubble packs. Okay. And you're thinking, gosh, they're quite old, aren't they? And, well, they are, because these date from a production time of 2000. Wow. Yes, all very different. Some kids on the back playing this one. This guy looks like a little bit too old to be playing with toy cars, but never mind. Perhaps they couldn't find anybody younger. So these actually have been turning up, or they had been at the close of last year in Poundland. Nobody seems to know where they got them, but I reckon that they were sitting in a warehouse somewhere in the world, hadn't been sold, and Poundland's buying team, who were very clever, managed to pick them all up, and they've been turning up willy-nilly around the country. And I didn't get to see them. I was very frustrated that I didn't get to see them, and then I went into my local Poundland store the other day, and they had about 6, and I thought I'll pick those two, and they are those two. And interesting, because this one is a 68 casting, although I do think it is slightly altered in its time, but it's got a copyright date of 68. It's a metal base. It's a 1967 Mustang. And you've got an engine in there, opening hood. Terrible printed design on there, part of a small series, I think, which was like a hippie sort of piece series that they did. But you know, it's different, I suppose. But it's, for me, it's just nice to get hold of it for £1. If I tried to get this even 6 months ago, I wanted this particular model, it would have set me back a lot more than £1, and delivery on top. So, you know, some of you guys have probably got some of these Hot Wheels, old Hot Wheels, and well done if you found them. Some of you might not have. You know, just hold tight. You never know, they might turn up. That's why it's always a good idea to check in Poundland. Whenever you go past, just pop your head in, go in there, pick up, I don't know, some cheap razors or whatever it is, and just see what's there. You know, even if the other day they had, you know, the same old stuff, you never know. You've just got to keep checking. And if you like this sort of stuff, it's worth your while, and it was worth me doing that the other day. So that's that one, Waffle on Mark Goes. And this is something called the Shoebox. Now, it's plastic base. It's not an old casting, but it was, well, it is old now, but it wasn't at the time. I think it's sort of loosely based on the Studebaker, and I say that because it's got this sort of interesting aero engine design there. Again, I could be wrong, tell me if I am. It's this funny satin finish they did, and they used to did a few purple vehicles like this. I've got another one somewhere in my collection based on, I think, a Corvair, the rear engine car from General Motors. This has got white wheels as well, and it's the old style, or old-ish style, Hot Wheels wheels. Nice printing on there, sort of strange gambling thing. Lucky something. I couldn't see that with my own eyes. Lucky Knights? Don't know. Anyway, it's a pair of dice and a rather interesting, strange design on there. It's very popular at the time in the early 2000s. Nice piece, as they say. £1. Incredible. So there you go. And then we'll move on to this one. I missed this one. Yes. Oh, Mark's going to bang on about home bargains. Quick, go and make a cup of tea. No, this is the last one that I got. And it's not an oldie. It's the Dialogos from 1998. It's a concept vehicle. Let's have a little the paper. And there's the model. Now, it's typical of its time period because it's looking back at old designs. But let me show you what this is special for. If it had just been like that, I would have probably gone, meh, okay. But it's great detail. It's a Solido model, 143 scale. What's all this stuff? Let me show you. Because the doors open up. Both sets of doors open up. You've got these suicide doors, as they're called. But what does this do? Well, it turns the whole front seat moulding around so that it points back to the rear seats, and that's why I think it was called the Dialogos, because it meant talk, as in dialogue. So you could talk to one another. Perhaps you parked up somewhere and you wanted to have a chat about a business deal or something, I don't know, perhaps where you're going to get your sandwiches from at lunchtime, or what was on EastEnders last night. But an opportunity to talk about something. So that bit turns around, and then because it's got that, the original concept vehicle had this steering wheel which you could, if you didn't want to drive, you could pass it on to your partner to drive. Now that little switch there will turn it over to the other side. It's a little bit cranky, but I mean, it's an attempt anyway. As you can see, it moves around. So not a toy, but it was being sold in home bargains, so it probably ended up as being a toy for some kids. It's a nice one to add to the Lancias that we've got. And look at the detail. I mean, £2.99. I won't say anything more than that. I said enough last time. There, and this one I missed out. This came in off a deal from a chap, I can't remember his name now. But anyway, I did a trade or a swap or a payment for a whole load of vehicles. And then amongst was this Majorette Renault Alpine A310. This will be from the 80s. And it is superb. Just make out, it says Alpine there, Alpine Renault. It's a racing car normally, it's a sort of sports supercar, but it's done in a sort of gendarmerie police scheme. And believe it or not, the French gendarmes did have these, presumably for the sort of autoroutes, and I think at borders, where they had to get people at speed before they moved into another territory. So I like the Renault Alpine 310. It's I think it's still an incredible looking car. And this is an incredible model. You can see the glazing runs through to the headlamps, and it's an unusual police vehicle. So suspension's gone a little bit, but doesn't matter because it's static. I've re-chromed the wheels because they were worn out, and I used my Molotov chrome pen, which I've mentioned before, and it's now zingy and lovely. So there you go. A quick whistle-stop tour through some stuff. See you next time, and carry on enjoying your collection.
It's a Red Bull moment. Of course, we've all seen this piece. This is an old No Rev that I picked up loose from my friend at my local toy shop, who stocks a load of old stuff. Very nice piece, very nice indeed. A lot of interest on this particular piece from people on Instagram. So to go with that, I've got this, but I also got this from Thomas way back. This is the Renault Red Bull Formula 1 car, the Infinity, the RB9, sorry. Let's have it out and check it out. Very nice piece. It's got actually little rubber tyres on there. This is made by Barago, as you can see there. Look around the box. In 1/64 scale. So no little driver in there. This is the state of Formula 1. Wow. We can see there it says the Renault. It's got all the total markings on it. Very nice piece. And of course, yeah, did I mention this? Thomas sent me this one from Germany. So I'm very pleased to have this one out and about. Of course, in the snow, it's going to be hard to take some photographs of this particular piece. Next up is this. This is a no-rev that I picked up online for a good price. I think it cost me all of about £4, so not too bad at all. It came from a guy, some Peugeot specialist. I'm thinking this is probably a Peugeot promotion piece that you can pick up from the garages. Comes in a variety of colours. You get the all blue shade, much like this one. There's a white one and a black one, and there's one that's really special, and it seems to cost like 18 quid or something crazy. So that's probably the one with the rubber tyres and all the Sebastian Vettel information on it. It's interesting to compare some of the sponsors actually. It's like Total do a lot of sponsoring. So this one was the only one that you could get at this bargain price with the markings on the wheels, which was definitely a swayer when it come to wanting to be a payer. Absolute beauty. Love it. Of course, this is the 2016 Peugeot 3008 Dakar. Did it win? I'm not sure. But anyway, it took part and it did well. Of course, it's now Car of the Year in its SUV mode. Beautiful. Well, thanks everybody for surviving this long into the video, and we're going to finish up today with a look at something I picked up again off of the eBay. Couldn't help myself, I had to grab this piece. It was going for about 5 quid, which is really good. Some kind of Canadian American release of the 1957 Studebaker Golden Hawk. An actually amazing car from the 50s. Totally unlike anything else I've seen from that period, and it does have an interesting heritage and very interesting packaging. As you can see, it's got all this going on. So let's flip around the other side and have a look. It tells you that you need to cut it underneath the blister, and the blister reopens and closes, and it comes from a series of cars. And the top one there, I would really like to get hold of one of those. The 1965 Shelby Coupe, Daytona Coupe. What a beauty. Okay, let's open it up and have a look. Okay, so I managed to cut the box. I did make a little bit of a mess with it. In the end, I had to use scissors. So there you go. So you might not need so much parental supervision as you thought, kids. So here we go. There it is, released. And there's the thing. It does actually reclose again and open. Whoa! Endless hours of cracking fun for the future. Let's get on to the piece. Right. Wow, what a thing. Fully, oh dear me, fully tampoed headlamps and grille. It does have a rather strange drop on the front bumper there. Looks like it's an inbuilt fault there. I'll have to send it back to Studebaker for a refit probably. Lovely tampos on the side there, all in gold, with the famous Studebaker markings. Of course, this car was released in 1957 and was competing with the likes of the Chrysler 300 and the Ford Thunderbird. As you can see, there's that classic 57 style wingage on the back there. The 1956 Studebaker Golden Hawk, or the similar car, did not possess these wings, and they kept this this design going until 1958, so it wasn't around for a long time. The engine in the front here was a 256 horsepower V8, which replaced the original Packard engine, and the reason for that big bulge on the top there is because it's got a supercharger and extra carbs and all the other good stuff, and that pushed the nose out. As you can see there, it's got a very pointy front grille, and that's because it's got extra engine equipment underneath that little old hood there. Of course, this made this car a competitor, and it competed quite nicely against the 300 Chrysler, and was one of the first kind of muscle cars really in America. It's not one that gets talked about very often, probably because it's quite an unusual car. A quick look around the base there. It is made by, oh, it's a Playing Mantis. The box says it's an R2 product, but there we go. It does have its Playing Mantis heritage. 2004 release. Rubber tyres. White walls. What a piece. So anyway, thank you very much for everybody for watching. This is K5 saying thank you, and ta-ta for now. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome one and all to Trouble is, all I've got is an old vacuum cleaner out there.
Which is good, thank you.